we were discussing the role of word shark and how we can capture the packets and later how we can analyze those. So for analysis purpose, we can use any scripting language like Python, curl, etc. But if we want to just capture the open flow packets, then we can use some sort of OF filters also. Open flow means filter names also do get changed time to time, means version to version. So that's why sometimes it is open flow, sometimes it is just simply OF. So different versions may use different, so you try both. So in the meantime, I am again opening this walkthrough based on search suggestion. Uh, as I have already recommended you 2 times in both the labs that go through this Mininet walkthrough. It's important one because all the basic and some of the advanced commands are covered here. So in case if you have any problem, you can mail me or message me, and Shiv is also there. So I hope we both are here and you can send any of us the mail or message. So starting with some of the things that we didn't discuss in the last two labs. One is the XTEM. Uh, you can see here on the screen. Part 2, advanced setup startup options. There is, and there is verbosity, etc. We will also discuss link variation. But firstly, I want to start with XTEM because it is the important thing. And secondly, we will move on to the link parameters, and then we will discuss how we can make a link up or down. So in the similar way, will function here. So let's move on to the XTEM display. Click on the, you can open at your side also if you want, else you can just simply watch this thing. So at the XTEM display, the command is sudo mn, and there is a switch X. I will call it -X because the switch is the other word that is being used in this context of networking. So don't get confused. Sometimes I may call switch to this option also. So better for safer practice, I will call it hyphen. Okay. So sudo mn -X. So sudo mn, you know very well that sudo gives you the root permission. So that's why you are using it. And why we are trying to get the root permission, because mn is a kind of utility that is interacting at the backside with the hardware utilities of your system. So to access those, the hardware means the OS level access of the system, you need to get the root permission. So I'm opening a terminal here. Simply you can search it in your respective Ubuntu installation, or you can just what you can do, simply just press Control Alt T, Control plus Alt, press both the keys and then press T. So it will open up automatically. Okay. Again, I am closing Control Alt T. Done. So I hope if any of you have any problem, just unmute yourself and ask anything. Okay. So command is sudo mn -X. So I'm typing here ABCD123 for my password. After entering password, it will open 4 XTEMs. You can see here. Okay. So what did it do? Actually, sudo mn means you need to create a mininet, basic mininet network with the root permission, and there is a -X. Okay. So sudo mn will create a network. At the backside, means at the terminal window, you can see it created a network and we got the mininet prompt. Okay. And later on, with the help of this X option, all the XTEM windows get open. So here, if I type nodes, so how many nodes are here? There are 4 nodes. 2 host, 1 switch, 1 controller. So that's why there are 4 XTEM windows. Okay. So here, just close it. I'm closing all these windows. And suppose you created a mininet network. Okay. You didn't use the X option. So I come out of this environment. Just simply I open an environment of Mininet. Okay. And now I want to open XTEM. So type simply XTEM H1. So it will open the XTEM window with respect to H1 node only. So in this way, separately you can also open up the XTEM windows for each of the nodes. And if you want to open all the XTEM windows all of a sudden, then you can use the X switch. So in this way you can function. So ultimately question comes that what is the requirement of this XTEM window? So requirement is this, it's a kind of command line interpreter for your respective node. So if it is the command line window of H1, then I can do all the respective operations with respect to H1 here. So suppose I want to get the IP address. So obviously I will type ipconfig if it is the window environment, but as it is a Linux, so I will type ifconfig. So it will give me the IP related details. So as you can see, H1 ETH0, it is the interface name, and we discussed why it is so, because H1 is the interface, H1 is the node, and ETH0 is the interface related with it. And as it is the default topology, so there is a single controller, single switch, and there are two hosts. So with respect to these two hosts, there are two links. So in this way, each host is connected with that switch. So each host has a single interface on it. So that's why there is a single interface is listed here. And second one is the loopback interface. So loopback is well known. Its default address is 127.0.0.1. It is the local address. So whenever you want to run something locally, then obviously this address is really handy. You can test anything at your local server. And simply it's a netmask also stand with a 8-bit netmask. So the with respect to Mininet environment, what is the IP address? That is 10.0.0.1. Like we did in case of Miniedit, there we were configuring the IP address in a GUI environment. So there you configured like that. Here we are supposed to have a DHCP functionality in the back of the Mininet environment. That's why you are getting automatically this sort of IP address. Okay, so just to simply close it. If you want to close, else you can see other options. So if you want to do some sort of ls, etc., etc., so you can get different means all the terminal related options, whatever you do in a plain terminal of Ubuntu environment, that you can do here also. Consider H1 as a separate system. Similar way, if you want to open H2, okay, now H2's terminal is here, and then you can type similar sort of things. So here you can see the inet address is 10.0.0.2. So it is verified, it is confirmed now that it is not the same window. It is not that somebody is making an ambiguous statement and the same terminal is getting open again and again. Okay. So with the help of IP address, you can easily verify. Means some of the parameters will change depending on node to node, environment to environment. So we close it also. And now here, you can open in this way. You can open two terminals also. Means if you want to open multiple terminals, but you don't want to open all the external terminals, then you can give options like this. Okay, simply extern command and then the number of host or as many as nodes you want to appear in that particular command. So now here are two commands. Then you can do any sort of thing what you want to do here. So suppose it is the extern, again check if config. So here if config is command is here, so you can see the IP address 10.0.0.1, and here again I am running the same command 10.0.0.2. Okay, so here you can see H1 Ethernet 0 interface of H1 node, and here it is the interface of H2 node. Respectively, IP addresses are different. Respectively, you can netmask is same because they are using 8-bit netmask here, and similar way their broadcast address is same. Broadcast address is same. It means what? It means they belong to same network. Okay, so ultimately what is the important thing means other of the things will be almost constant. Some of the things might be different, like the RS packets 39, 38, etc. These things don't need to discuss here. We will first focus on 2-3 important things in this thing. Suppose like here it is, this is inet 6. If you want to use IPv6, then here it is, both are different. Okay, and in the same way later on we'll also see how we can check the MAC address and how we can change the MAC address in Mininet environment of a specific node. So till now we understood what is the xterm window. It's a simply command line window in a Ubuntu environment. Means we are using in Mininet environment. That's why it is called xterm. If it would have been a simple Ubuntu environment or the Linux environment, there we call it terminal. So in window environment, we call it command line option. So their command line in Windows, terminal in Ubuntu or Linux, and in Mininet, we call it simply xterm. So I hope it is clear. All the commands wherever in the respective environment you run, all those commands will get run here also. So now I want to ping one system from another system. So like we were doing in Mininet environment. Okay, let me do here. Ping h1. Okay, h2 ping h1. So you can see here it is working fine. Okay, let me close it. So 7 packets got transmitted, 7 received, means 0 packet loss. What is the time taken by this particular operation? That is 6132 milliseconds. And then here it is the RTT time with average, maximum, and mean deviation values in milliseconds. So all these things we discussed in last lab also. I hope it is clear to you. Now I want to do here. It is the window of which particular node? That is h1. Okay, let me type here. The same command that we run here, h2 ping h1. Now I want to perform with the help of xterm window. So here I will type. It is already the h2 window. So h2 ping h1. Okay. Now you can see command not found here because h2 itself is not a command. It is just the name of host. Okay. So I'll give the name of command. Now ping temporary failure in the name resolution means there is no name resolution sort of thing available here. There is no sort of DNS functionality available in this particular environment. So you have to explicitly give the IP address. I hope you are clear with the name resolution concept. When we try to access a particular site, like you type google.com. So whenever you type google.com, obviously it is not going to find the exact IP address if you don't have a proper DNS installation at the backside of the system. Okay. So in this way, if you have a name resolution functionality in the form of DNS server or DNS utility in your system or at your server side, then you have to give the explicit IP address of each of the site that you want to work on. But problem is similar that there are hundreds or thousands of sites and you cannot remember the 32-bit IP address of each of the sites. Although with the decimal representation of the 32-bit IP address, it is easy to manage the IP addresses, but still it is a cumbersome task to remember all of those decimal form IP addresses. So that's why in this particular environment, as it is a sort of development environment or research environment, you can say. So it is considered that the user is well familiar with the concept of IPs, etc., etc. So, and that's why they have not given all the functionality, like name resolution is not here. You can see they have given an error, but point is that why they have not done it like that. Second thing that they have not given the name resolution and other facility means it's a Mininet environment. Like I'm saying that it is the similar thing. Xterm window is similar to the terminal window. Then is it that it is the equally power tool to terminal? No, because here multiple functionality, multiple system utilities are not present in Mininet environment. So that's why it is not equally capable. All the things that you do in Ubuntu or Linux environment, you cannot perform here. And the reason is quite simple, because as it is supposed to be an emulator or with respect to Ubuntu environment, so it is supposed to perform some of the specific tasks. If you do or incorporate all of the functionalities at the backside of the system, then obviously the libraries will go large in size and your software or your emulator will become much heavier. So that's why to just reduce the complexity of software and to make it lightweighted so that every Ubuntu system could easily use it, they have not provided the respective functionality. Now, what is the solution? Solution is simply just you type the IP address. So you can see here now, if I simply type ping 10.0.0.1, so pinging is going on. And what is 10.0.0.1? I press Control C. So it's a interrupt for this ongoing process of pinging. So ping 10.0.0.1, we are trying to ping 10.0.0.1. And what is the IP address of H1? That is 10.0.0.1. So ultimately we can conclude that from node 2 means that is H2, we tried to ping H1, that is node 1. Okay, and we need to give the IP address of H1 node because there is no name resolution or DNS sort of functionality available here. So we gave the 10.0.0.1, that is the IP address of H1 node, and that's why we are able to ping H1 from H2. I hope it is clear. Okay, so these options are here with respect to external window. Now we need to cover some other options. So let's move back again to the default walkthrough. What did they do? They opened the windows, tried to dump some of the packets. Okay, we'll see later. They tried to ping this particular IP. We did it, and then you can use the exit command to get out of here. Okay. Okay. Then some of these of the commands. Okay. Let me give you a basic flavor. So at the Mininet terminal, I'm typing pi and then hello plus word. So with respect to Python interpreter means if you want to run the Python commands here, then you can use this sort of thing. Okay, so I hope it is a basic utility, and then you want to perform the Python operations, then you need to explore the Python libraries. So not going into much detail with respect to Python here, just to give you a basic demonstration of this particular thing, what they gave in this particular Python interpreter respective discussion here. So you can see they have given the Python interpreter, then they are running hello plus word means it will print the hello word. Again, single or double quotes. I hope you understand the difference. Then Python locals. So it will give some of the local variables that are available in the present context. So these are the local variables and their respective discussion is presented here, or H2, then the net, then what is the H1, what is the H1's Ethernet, what is the process ID that is running on H1, and then the local address, what is the default port number 6653, and again it's a port number, then switch, it's a type, it is the OVS switch of type OVS, and S1 is the switch name. What is the loopback address? It is one. What is the Ethernet connected with? So it is the S1 Ethernet 1, and there would have been another one. Yes, it is here. It is S1 Ethernet 2. So this is the process ID 5057 that is running on S1 switch. So means all the basic things that we have already discussed in the last two labs. Those are the local environment variables or the settings. Those are making this Mininet environment to function well. So those you can access. Then if you want to explore the directory side of S1 switch, then Python dir of S1, then you can see all the respective detailings, means all the environment variables with respect to S1 switch, those are here. And with respect to other default options like write, waiting, etc., those options are also available. Stop, setup, set ARP, then monitor to particular specific device, and then DPID option, DPCTL control options. So all these things slowly you'll get means you'll understand all these things. Don't get panic. Things look means very cumbersome in networking environment because there are huge number of options, huge number of protocols, huge number of acronyms, but they are simple if you understand the basic things. So here again I exit from the Mininet environment, and then okay, I need to install it, leave it, simply close it. I open a fresh terminal, or you can install the clean utility, there you can also use. So again I'm running the same command, that is sudo mn. So again we are at the Mininet terminal. So what we were doing, at the Mininet terminal, we were exploring some of the Python interpreter related commands. So Python, then the third way of checking IP. IP is not defined. Okay. Now it is the IP. Okay. So with the help of Python interpreter, if you want to explore the IP address of H1, now you will say, sir, how did it come out? Then, okay, Python, then H1, sorry, dir of so here you can see we got to know all the listed options with respect to H1, and IP is the first option, MAC is the second option, and there are different options. So if you type simply h1.mac or h1.ip, then you will get the respective outputs. So what we did here, just one line before, we tried to get the IP address of H1 node with the help of Python interpreter. So if you hit enter, it will simply give you the IP address of H1 node. So now there are again two ways that you can use Python interpreter. Then you can perform some operation. You can see the hardware details or as well as the IP, MAC, etc. Second, that the traditional option that we use in Ubuntu traditionally. So you can open the XTerm window. There you can type the ifconfig, the command to display all the options, and then you can see here that okay, let me open XTerm also. So here again the same thing. So 10.0.0.1 we can get from here also. We can get from here also. So I hope it is clear. If you open ifconfig, then obviously it will give you more information related to the transmitted bytes, packets, and as well as the erroneous packets, loopback address related, packet transmitted locally, received locally, similar sort of thing, netmarks, etc. So it is always good. It's a good practice to open ifconfig if you don't know much about network. But if you are well familiar, you have a good hand on networking commands and you know the internals of the networking environment, then you are supposed to proceed with this Python interpreter. Okay, so I will recommend that go with this option, this XTerm option, because it is easy to see, easy to visualize the, and more things you will understand here. Similarly, you can put the all option here, ifconfig -a. So it will give you all the details. So sometimes it does happen that there are a number of interfaces attached with your device. So right now we have only two interfaces. One is the local, that is LO, loopback interface, that is default one. Second one is the H1 Ethernet 0. Okay. So if your environment has more interfaces, suppose you have installed many virtual machines in your system, then they have also created some virtual interfaces with your machine. So if your environment having 10 to 15 Ethernet connections, might be some of the virtual, some of the physical. So then you need to have this all specific command. You need to use this particular -a option. Then you will get all the listed options down here. So right now, as we have only two options, so it is listing two. By default means in systems, it will show usually 3 to 4 interfaces on without a option, because it will go large. So screen has to drag down and then you can see all the options. So if you are interested in all the Ethernet options, use this particular switch. Okay.
Okay, Rohit, let us pause for some time. Maybe we can get questions from them. Okay.
So in the meantime, if you have any confusion, you can unmute yourself and ask any of the questions.
Okay, my question is that are you executing parallelly in your system or not? Shivam? Shivam Upadhyay or Ritvik, are you executing the command parallelly?
Yes, sir, we are executing in the system.
Okay, then no problem. If anybody have any problem, anyone? Srinivas Kaushik,
Yes, sir.
are you executing commands at your end or not?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Executing.
Okay, okay, then no problem. The next, anyone? Lilima, are you facing any problem at your end?
No, sir. It's working.
Okay. Sir, output of if config and if
Right now, I told you the same thing, that output of if config and if config hyphen a means switch a will be same in this particular environment because there are only two interfaces. I was discussing the same thing only right now. That okay, let me show you again.
Rohit, can you little drag this one?
Yes,
This
sir. I'm doing
that
that. Okay, so I'm opening the xterm window again. Okay, and I'm listing down here if config. Okay, screen. It's fine now.
Isha, is it audible? Is not, you're not able to see. But you have to increase the font of this, Rohit, I guess.
Yes, sir.
How
Sorry,
to?
basic terminal is fine, but this extra one is very.
Okay.
The problem with Xterm, it looks like that, I guess. We may not increase any font. It is possible, Rohit, anything?
Sir, in Windows it is quite easily possible, but in this
Is it a line? Okay,
let
just
me.
this Xterm is just information about the particular host, nothing. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Okay. Rohit, you carry on. No problem.
You try to see the window carefully. I hope you will observe. But even if you are not able to see the screen clearly, then later we will send you the recording link also. There you can zoom easily, obviously. And still, if you are not able to get it, then directly you can send any question to Shiv or me, and you can call, okay, for any option. Then later we will come down to your system. If you are here in the campus, then obviously you can come to me and then we can discuss. Else, you can send the email or any sort of message. Okay. So, your question. Coming to your question, that why the output is same. The if config. So we know that if config gives the IP and the network interface related details on a particular host where you are running the specific command. Okay, that is clear. So now it will list down all the interfaces that is attached with H1 because we opened the node H1 terminal. Okay, now here we can see H1 Ethernet 0. It is the default interface. Default interface in the sense because it is connected with single switch only. So there is a single line connected with H1. Okay. And it is the second interface that is LO, popularly known as the local host address or the default loopback address. So here this loopback address is well known 127.0.0.1. You might have heard of in many of the cases. Okay. Now the question is that here it is, and now again we run this command. Again we are getting the same output. So just as I was telling you that if you have more number of interfaces, suppose your system is running 4 or 5 virtual machines and it is connected to more number of nodes and they are trying to communicate it with using some virtual interfaces or some physical interfaces. So a system may have more than one physical interface also. So if a system has 3 or 4 physical interfaces, okay, suppose it is a server, then obviously there will be a number of servers, means number of IP LAN connections will be more. So that's why more number of physical interfaces as it is a server. So there might be more number of virtual processes running on the system. So to run multiple virtual processes in the same time to execute or exploit the power of parallelism, we will execute multiple virtual machine. So that's why multiple virtual interfaces will get created. So 4 or 5 physical interfaces, 4 or 5 virtual interfaces. Now it will be with respect to a server. It is a quite general scenario that your system will have 10 to 15 interfaces. Some of them physical, some of them are virtual. So if it is the case, then if you run simple if config without hyphen a option, then it will list down only 2, 3 major interfaces here. Means most probably initially the physical ones, then later on the virtual ones. Okay, let me try in this system. Perhaps your doubt will get. ENO1 loopback 2 3 4. ENO1 loopback 2 OVS 3 flag. Yeah, you can see here. Okay, I'm closing the window, opening up again. Hope it is clear. Now the
Yes,
font
sir.
is
Now I understand.
okay. Now see here. I'm running if config. How many interfaces are listed down here? One is the ENO1. Second one is the loopback. Which interface is used for what purpose, that is not our concern right now. We just want to see that how many interfaces are getting listed down in if config and how many interfaces are getting listed down with respect to if config all. So with respect to simple if config, we are getting how many interfaces? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now close it. I'm closing because clean utility is not functioning here. Okay. Opening again, and again the same command with all option. So here see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So why 2 extra interfaces are getting listed down here? Because there are some of the system interfaces, means there are some virtual interfaces. Those are not the physical interfaces. Your system, like this machine on which I am working, it has single interface. Okay. So if there is a single interface, that is the ENO1, and you can see it is the local IP address being used by networking lab. So if it is the local address, then means it is the physical address. So it is listed down at first with priority. So that the same thing I was telling 2 minutes before, that if your system or any of the system has multiple interfaces, then only the popular ones or the major ones will get listed down without a option. So if you have 2 physical options or 2 physical options, and the loopback address will get listed down. Other of them will not get listed down. But if you have all option, if you want to see all the system related activities, what is going on at the back of your system, then you can use all options. So all the switches, etc., are used to manipulate the networking. Not networking means any environment. All the switches which are given, like I type here if, and then I type here help. Okay. So you can see here, these are the if config related options. So if you want to go into the much detail, then you can explore these options, and later on you'll get to know many more things. So as the time is less, we are not covering all these things in detail. Starting, going back to the same environment, closing all the things, and it is the default command. Okay. So we got the default topology again. Here, I want to see nodes, available nodes. Then links. Now we are here at the option in the walkthrough, that is link up or down. Okay. So now here, when I typed links, then it is showing the name of both links. H1 Ethernet 0 interface to S1 Ethernet 1 interface. Means it should be clear what is this interface, what is this link, and what is this node. Those who are not familiar with networking environment much, consider first thing your system, that is host, that is depicted here in the form of H1 and H2. So consider H1 and H2 as 2 separate systems, means computers. Okay. Then Ethernet 0 or Ethernet 1 or Ethernet 2. What is this? It is the interface. Interface means a sort of plug that is attached with your device and is responsible to transfer the packets or data from your system to any other system. Okay. So here, if you want to visualize it, then you can do it like that, that H1 is a system, means a computer, and has a plug that is Ethernet 0. And this plug is responsible to send the packets further out to the other system, that is in the form of switch. So your H1, your computer is connected with a switch, and your computer is sending data with the help of a plug that is Ethernet 0, and S1 is receiving the data with the help of another plug, that is Ethernet 1. Hope it is clear. Okay. Now, same sort of functionality is being performed between H2 and S1. So H2 Ethernet 0 and S1 Ethernet 2. Now here S1 is the same device. So it has Ethernet 1 and Ethernet 2. It has two plugs because it is connected with two devices. So it's a quite simple physical word analogy. You cannot connect two devices in the same plug. So at a time, you can unplug once and you can put the second wire into the first plug or the first wire into the second plug. That is possible, but it is not possible that you can plug two wires into the same plug. So that's why here you can see that what is the linking interface is here. Both interfaces are listed down, and then it is the both status. The status of both the links is okay, means they are perfectly fine, they are ready to work. Okay, let's not trust them, we will test them. So H1 ping H2, pinging is going on, means testing is okay. H1 is connected with switch and switch is connected with H2. So obviously there is a only way to reach H2 is through switch. First you need to send the traffic to S1 and then S1 will transfer the packets to H2. Some of you might be not getting that what I am talking about because it is not a physical board here. So let me show you. Okay, see it here. When I type sudo mn, then consider this particular, these are hosts. It is H1, it is H2, it is the switch, and it is the controller. Okay, so once the topology is framed, means I'm opening again the fresh window to give you the basic understanding again. I'm typing mn. It is saying Mininet run as a root. Okay, so it is compulsorily you have to type sudo super user do and then mn Mininet. Password abcd1234, my password. Then you got the Mininet terminal. Once you got this terminal, you don't need to worry about this controller part. Why? Because controller is functioning well, then only you got this particular prompt. Okay, now here onwards you need to consider the behavior of hosts and switches only. So here I'm typing nodes, I'm getting H1, H2 and S1. These are the three main options that I need to focus on. So I am typing here H1 ping S2. Pinging is going on. Okay, means it is links are functioning well. Close it. Now what are the links? These are the links. Now see carefully. H1 tried to ping H2. What is the interface attached with H1? There's a H1 interface 0, means that is Ethernet 0. And it is not connected with H2. It is connected with S1. So you can see here. H1, consider this node as H1. H1 is not connected with H2 directly. H1 is connected with S1 because S1 is the switch, and then S1 is connected with H2. So I hope now it is quite clear that H1 is connected with S1 with the help of Ethernet 0. It is the interface here. This connection is the interface and this connection is another interface. So it is H1, it is Ethernet 0, it is Ethernet 1 and it is S1. It is Ethernet 2 and it is H2 and it is Ethernet 0 of H2. Okay, so both the links are working well. You understood the topology, I hope. If you have any question, just unmute. Okay, considering all of you are getting. So here we got to know that the links are fine. Now what we want to do? We get back to our default walkthrough. And here we want to make a particular link down. Okay, so if I type simply link down, what it is saying? It is saying invalid number of arguments. It is obvious error. Why? Because you are saying link down, but you are not specifying which particular link you want to make down. Okay, so you need to specify the link name. So link name, as you can see here, link name is not something L1, L2, etc. It is a link is a combination of source node and destination node. So whenever you are trying to specify a link, you need to specify both the things. What is the source? What is the destination? And it is a basic assumption that you consider there are no looping environment. Means there is no self loop, or there is no sort of multiple loops. Multiple edges concept is not there. If you understand the graph theory, then multiple edges is not there, and then self loop is not there. So in this environment, there are no two links from S1 to H1. There is only a single link, which is means a link is what? Connecting two nodes directly. There might be two paths, but there cannot be two links. Okay. So here S1 and then H1. I'm trying to make the link from S1 to H1. Means from S1 to H1. This particular link I want to make down. Okay, enter. Nothing got displayed here. Okay, means we don't know whether this particular command worked or not. As we got the Mininet prompt back, it's a clear indication that it worked. But still, if you want to test it again, do the same thing. Just a simply ping. So H1 ping S2, and the error is ping connect that network is unreachable. Network is unreachable because the link is broken. Okay. So again, you want to create the same thing. Then the command is up. Here it is up. Okay. Again, there is no indication whether it succeeded or not. But again, considering that it is succeeded, we want to test it. So you can see pinging is again functioning in its intended form. Okay. So I hope the concept of link, node, and extern is clear till now. Okay. And the same thing that I showed you earlier already. Xterm, you can open two Xterm window between H1 and H2. Okay. These are some Python API examples. You can do some of the things with respect to Python environment. SSHD daemon, they have demonstrated. Don't need to go inside that initially. Initially, first try to work out on the basic commands. If you are familiar with the basic commands, you are familiar with the basic Ubuntu environment, there is no need to panic. All these things will work. Okay. Now, today's focus, as it is already 45, only 15 minutes left.
Sir,
So, yes.
sir, instead of writing link S1 H1 down, if we write link H1 S1 down, then also it will work in the same way.
Same thing, same thing.
Okay, sir.
As I told you that a link is described by two descriptions. First thing, the source node. Second is the destination node. Now, if you say S1 H1, then you are trying to point out a specific link. Now you say the H1 S1. I think it is the same link, because we are assuming that there are no multiple paths. Sorry, there are no multiple links. There may be multiple paths. Okay. For example, you are connected with S1 and S1 is connected with H1 is connected with S1. Consider it like here. H1 is connected with S1. S1 is connected with H2. Okay. So what is the intended path? It is only single one. From here you have to go here, and then from here you need to go here. Okay. But suppose if there is a second switch and this H1 is connected to that switch also, and H2 is also connected to that particular S2 switch, then you have two paths. So there it is possible that you have two paths to reach a specific node, but it is not possible that you have two links between two particular nodes. Link, when you say, it is a direct link, means there is no intermediate node. So in the same way, if there is no intermediate node, then it is clear. Either you say it in forward direction or in backward direction. You can name it in any way, H1 S1 or S1 H1. And to clear this doubt, we will go again. See here, H1 is pinging H2. We'll stop it. Then, okay, make me smaller. Then we will make the link down. What was the command? Down. And again, we are trying to ping. Network is unreachable. Okay, again, make it up and test it. It's functioning. So it is
Sir,
clear now. Yes.
sir, when I did the link S1 H1 down, then I ran the command links. So it is still showing both the links with OK status. So shouldn't it be down, or it should reflect something in the links command?
Okay, I'm writing. I think I understood your question in the right way. So you are trying to access this thing, links,
Yes, sir.
and then trying to write down.
No, sir.
Then,
Okay, only links. I was writing only links.
then links is a very
After,
different.
sir,
Then
after doing link S1 H1 down, so it will down the link, and
link
after
is
that, yes, sir.
yes.
Link S1 H1 down, like we did in the
Yes.
previous.
Okay, did it now.
Then links.
Links. Okay. Okay. Here you are saying that it is showing okay. Why it is not showing down?
Yes, sir.
This is your question, huh?
Yes, sir.
So in this way, actually, it shows just the presence of links. Here,
Okay.
point is that when you design some command, when you design some option, then it is up to you with what ideology or with what thinking you are designing that particular option. So suppose if it shows here, it is a good suggestion that they should show here down, because it is down and okay. But point is that they created this particular command just to show that there is a link. Okay, so link
Okay.
command just gives you that there is a link or not. For example, there are two links, but out of them one is down, but still it will show okay. So if you want to check whether a particular link is present there, you can use links command. But if you want to test whether a particular link is working or not, you have to do
Okay, so we have to ping every time to check if the link is down or not.
and then you can check. So this particular command, okay, perhaps if we explore their documentation in deep down, then I think there might be some option, because I have not gone through some option where they have shown this sort of option that if you type here, means you make a link down and then you type links, then it will show that it is down. So it's a what you are saying, that's a good option, that here instead of okay, they
It
should show
should.
the name of the link, but they should show the status as down. So these are
You see other way here. Maybe you see this is a physical topology, assume it. This is a physical topology which we are creating, and that for time being we are making the link is inactive. Time being, afterwards you can make active. Means as a part of traffic engineering approaches, this will be useful generally. This link up down is just means this makes your network administrator full control of the network. There is no other way of thinking on this. Means network administrator dynamically can make link up down, can create links like that. That is only you just learn. Don't go into other way. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
the same thing. It is the physical topologies, means there is a presence of links. Okay,
Yes, sir.
whether it is functioning or not, you have to do ping. And if you get familiar with any of the command where they are showing that it is down or not, okay, then tell me also.
Yes, sir.
Good to know that there is some command. Okay, then it's a 10 minutes down here. So I will give you a basic idea of controller, because we are supposed to cover a part of controller also today. So let's not waste time. So I'm closing this particular window, going through the Mininet, and again coming on to the concept of remote controller. Okay, opening up.
Wait 1 minute. Actually, as of now, you just learned how to create a topology, how to make a host, how to connect the host to a switch. Now, as we discussed in our theory concept, there is a controller, yes or no, which creates the flow rules and insert into a switch. Means if you observe in the entire network communication. The bottom layer host means we generate the traffic, which receive the traffic. These hosts are connected in the form of topology by using a forwarding devices. Here we are calling as a switch. Now, in order to establish a communication between the hosts, we need the instruction from the controller. Now, he is going to explain another 5 to 8 minutes about the controllers. Okay? Okay, please continue, Rohit.
Okay, sir. So here is the controller part. Now, as I showed you, this is the basic command. Okay. And here, when we type it, it gives us the default topology. Here you can see starting controller C0. We didn't specify any specific controller, then how did it come here? The question is that this C0 might be something that is the default. So yes, it is the default controller that is known as reference controller. Okay, so there is a default reference controller present in the Mininet, and here there are some options like I showed you. For example, I show you like this: sudo mn help, not sudo because already we are in the Mininet environment. Okay, here it is not working. No help on mn. On the terminal, I think it will work. Yeah, on terminal it is working. Inside Mininet environment it is not working because you have opened the environment and then you are trying to access the help. But help is available in the your parent environment where you have installed a particular utility. So this utility or the software Mininet we installed in Ubuntu environment. So if you try help option in Ubuntu environment, it will work. So here you can see that H for help, or you can use 2 hyphens, then you can write the whole help. Then you can specify the switch, host, controller, link, topology. So many options are there, and most of them we have covered. So you understand, I think, that what all these options mean. So here you can see it is the controller option. Okay, and here you can specify the controller type. What is default, none, NOx, OVS, remote, RU, etc., etc. Okay, so I just simply go down here, and again we open the same environment, sudo mn. Okay, here now Mininet. Now here we have the controller part here. So if we want to perform any operation like we were doing earlier also, pinging, it will function. Okay, now suppose, okay, let me open another, not another terminal. Okay, let me try. I have not tried like this, but okay, let's try. In the meantime, we'll open 2 environment. Okay, so here, see the difference between these 2 windows. I need to minimize a little bit. Okay, carefully observe. Line by line, you can see sudo mn controller is equal to remote. When we say remote option, means our controller is not running locally. It's running remotely. Now, remotely doesn't mean that it is running or functioning at some remote site. It just simply means that it is not present in your local environment. Local environment means whenever you download something, then there is a host repository. Then inside that host directory or repository, your controller is not present. That is remote. Okay. If something is not present in your default environment, then it is remote. So in my system, there is already, I have downloaded RU. That's why it got connected. You can see here. Yeah. Unable to contract the controller. Initially it gave error. Then again it tried to find at different port number, that is 6633. Initially it was trying to identify 6653. Some of the well-known options are these 6653, 6633, 6634. Okay. And then again it tried with 6653. and then it got set up. So sometimes the server process takes a little bit time, or it is hanging up, or there is some issue with respect to process, because it's a live environment. What you are doing in Mininet, it is an emulator. So it is running with respect to live system processes. Live system processes, they might go hang sometime. They might go down occasionally, periodically, for 1 second, for 1-2 seconds, because there is a OS at the backside of system, and it has the power to interrupt some services to power or to function some other services. So that's why sometimes it happens that sometimes your service doesn't run, but after 2 seconds, 3 seconds, it starts up automatically. Okay, so don't need to get confused. We got connected with 6653 port number of localhost. Now, those who were not understanding the concept of H1, loopback address. Let me open here. Sorry, command is wrong. Xterm H1, I need to type. I typed it wrong. It hanged up. Okay. Okay, so it is the Xterm window. Now I type here if config. So here you can see the loopback address. The loopback address is what? It is 127.0.0.
No, it is not. No, Rohit.
Is it okay now? Okay. So the IP address is 127.0.0.1. Here you can see it is the loopback address. So here, when we try to connect it with the remote controller, you can see it is getting controlled with respect to localhost. Means this controller is installed at my system. Okay. And what is the port number? That is 6653. It is process dependent. So here you can see there is no remote controller. Here you can see there is a remote controller. Okay. Now let me close it. Its function is over. Let me open another window. And here I type in this environment, in this remote environment, here I try to do H1 ping S2. Okay. You can see pinging. And here I type H1 ping S2. Okay. See here. The local controller is functioning well. Means the default controller is functioning. That's why pinging is going on in the upper terminal. But at the lower terminal, pinging is not going on. Because the remote controller is not functioning. Remote controller is there, but it is not up. Means it is not running a functionality to forward the packets. So we need to run the respective application. Right now, remote controller is running in its default form. So no service is enabled there. So we need to enable some of the services, and to get to know about some of the services, we need to go into the review documentation. As I remember the command, so I may type here, but if you don't remember, you can go there and you can see. Okay, so we'll go there and I will also show you what is the command. First, let me type here review manager. Review manager, once you install the review, it's a quite simple installation.